Professor, I just got word from the Knights that the last of the thieves have been cornered.
Just as planned. They're in Zanado, the Red Canyon.
We certainly can't allow those underhanded thieves to get away. Let's work together and do our best to take them down.
It matters not who we're up against. They will not harm His Highness.
We're just fighting common thieves, right? I don't expect much of a challenge.
Aren't you a spoil sport? I'm actually quite excited myself. Who knows? There may even be some cute lady thieves.
Well, at any rate, a real battle is a great opportunity for us to see how far we've come.
True. The mock battle was a success. We'll be fine so long as we stay the course.
Oh, so much excitement. Or I hope, yeah, so much excitement.
Perhaps we are a bit overly excited, but remember that we have the Knights on our side. All should be well.
If you...
And speaking of the Knights, I heard that Gerald is once again one of the Knights of Seros. Perhaps we'll have the good fortune of seeing you two fight side by side.
We fought together many times.
Oh, of course. I apologize for letting my childish whims get the better of me. In all honesty, I'm a bit jealous. My parents are no longer around.
What do you mean by that?
They died. Both of them. I'm all that remains of them now. Anyhow, I'm sorry to bore you with such things. I'd say it's nearly time for us to depart, eh, Professor?
Yes, it is. Alright, bit of a belated introduction, but hello everyone, Space Toyster here, and welcome back to Three Houses, the Ashen Blue Lion Wolves, as I've been calling it, because I feel like it. Anyway, in the last part, I went over the characters and their classes and all that fun stuff, and in this part, we will be doing our very first mission. But first, I actually got some characters to level 5, thanks to being super overpowered at this point in the game. So we can go into one of the 4 beginner classes once you reach level 5, those being Myrmidon, Soldier, Fighter, and Monk. These are basically more specialized versions of the Noble class. They boost your growth rates a bit, and when they're maxed out, they teach a useful skill for movement. And yeah, this is the exam process. Yay, we did it.
A new path to travel.
Yeah, Byleth will qualify for the Myrmidon exam at base, so he can always go into that. Anyway, I would like to turn Dimitri into a fighter, because that boosts his growths and brawling, but he doesn't quite meet the requirements for a guaranteed pass, so I'm going to instead have him go soldier for this, and go as a soldier instead, since he qualifies for that at base. And it's very handy when they do that.
Good results.
I suppose. But you're a soldier. That means you're slow if you're in a GBA game. And Yuri's ready to pass one too. I think I'm going to turn him into a monk instead of a Myrmidon. Because I do want him to be able to use the white magic he's learned. It's always nice to have an extra healer.
That was a breeze.
Or at least I think so anyway. It doesn't cut into his offensive ability much, I suppose. Maybe it does, but I'm not too sure. I usually just go for it anyway. This is hard mode, it's not that difficult. Anyway, I was going to try and read that, but I can't make it out on my screen, so I'm not going to bother. Anyway, what I should do is include the more details on the various classes you can promote into. So every class has modifiers to both your growth rates and your stats, and so picking a class to go into is you want to base it on what well, I'm not really sure what you should pick your class based on. Like, all these characters are better based on their growths.
So, we are taking children into battle, are we? I am not certain I will be able to sleep soundly after beholding something like that. I shall allow you to turn back the hands of time. But no, this power is not infinite.
Oh, yeah, so this is just teaching you that you now have access to Mila's Turn Wheel from Echoes, Shadow of Valentia. But anyway, as I was saying, that with the classes, they'll affect your growth rates, and they boost whatever weapons you, or your ability to use whatever weapons that the class specializes in. So Dimitri, as a soldier, will have better growth rate using lances than he will with any other weapon. He can still use other weapons, he's just not going to get as much experience for using them as he would using a lance. Let's see, and then they also boost your growth rates a bit. Like, I think, for example, Soldier gives him, boosts his defense growth by 5%. I'm not too familiar with it. Not too familiar with that, but, as you go, each class becomes more and more specialized. They'll increase your growth rates in certain areas and decrease them in others. For example, I'm pretty sure magical classes like Monk will have stunted strength growths and in exchange for the increased magic growth. Stuff like that. The class they nerfed the most, however, is Cavalier. Cavalier gets a huge penalty to their speed growth in exchange for the high movement that the class gets. It's weird that they nerfed Cavaliers, but not Pegasus Knights, because in addition to that, there's also a bunch of terrain that'll negatively impact anyone on a horse, but flying classes don't care about terrain, and the growth rates for flying classes don't seem to be all that affected all that much, so it's pretty much moot. Very strange.
Thanks a bunch.
But regardless, when you're picking a class for characters to go into, I would always recommend going for something that that their inherent weapon skills allow them to go into, and if they're a mage, one that actually allows them to use their magic. Or rather, if you want them to use their magic, one that allows them to use magic. And then classes can also learn skills when they're mastered. The noble and commoner class that everyone starts in, when you master that, it'll give you the skill HP plus 5, which is pretty straightforward. And then all those beginner classes, when mastered.
The Red Canyon. This is the first time I have ever been here. It's like walking through a ruin. Let's get this battle out of the way, Professor. The thieves must have already been driven back.
The Knights chased us all the way here?
Chief, let's get out of here. There's no way we can win against them.
Shut your dumb mouth! Where would we go at this point? You can't be a thief if you fear death!
I'm pretty sure you can.
According to our information, there is a back road to the west. Let's split up and approach from the west and the front. If we advance cleverly, we attack from both sides and gain the advantage. I'll leave the rest to you, Professor. But before all else, we'll need to cross the bridge.
Okay then. But, yeah, so you're essentially going to want to pick classes based on which ones the characters qualify for as they're growing, and then from there, which ones offer good skills. Let's see, yeah, let's go ahead and put Boyleth in range right here, and get everyone crowded closer. Since they all have 4 movement, it's going to be tricky for them to get anything done. But we will do our best to work with what we've got. So I'll try to keep you updated on what each class is capable of, like what growth rates they influence and how, and what skills they can teach. So I'll find some way to work in the beginner classes and what they give you, and then go up to the intermediate ones once I'm able to unlock those, and then so on and so forth.
That worked out.
Should be very neat.
I did it! See? I'm a great fighter.
Yay, you killed someone! Aren't you amazing, Annette? Yeah, and then aside from the Ashen Wolves, all the characters you can bring to this chapter will be able to say something. Or rather, I should say, all the characters who are officially in the house that you pick, they will have a line for if they kill someone in this part. Or rather, get a kill in this part. So I'm gonna try and show off all of them for the characters I brought. I won't be able to show off the ones for Sylvain, Felix, Sylvain, Felix, or Ash, unfortunately, but you'll get the idea. I'll do my best to show off everyone else.
I did what I had to. My technique could use some polish. can't relax here. We need to prepare for our next battle.
Yeah, they tell you this is the first time most of these people have been in a fight, but there's also some contradictory information on that. I believe Dimitri and Felix both have combat experience. And of course, Byleth does too, but Byleth doesn't really count. Let's see if we can give this to Oh wait, no, Mercedes is gonna heal. Her healing uses are very limited, but being able to heal is also very handy, since it gives you experience in both, well, actual experience and then weapon experience. It's also good for adjutants as well, because they get experience from it.
Still whole and sound, I hope.
Yeah, putting your adjutants on a healer is also pretty handy, because they'll get experience as well. Probably not as much, or, well, I guess... I don't know if it's if adjutant experience is affected by where you get that experience from. They will grow a lot slower than the rest of the cast, but the adjutants will still keep pace, or close enough anyway. Let's go ahead and have Mercedes play healer for now. She's only got 5 uses of the spell at this point, but I do want to get her to level 5. Even on a normal playthrough, I would make that your main goal for this chapter, to get all the characters you're bringing to level 5 if possible. It might not be, but you never know. You never know. Ooh, way to go, Dedue. You punch. But these thieves can actually be very tricky. The ones with swords are often quite fast and able to double most of your units. So make sure you don't expose anyone who's frail, like what I'm doing here with Mercedes. What am I doing here with Mercedes? Oh, I just want to see how much it takes for her to get a kill. And then feed it to her. Go, Annette! Yay!
A change for the better.
I suppose. Ooh, a bit risky, but worth it. 90% chances unlikely to fail.
The goddess blesses them to rest in peace.
Nah, I just can't get over the fact that her voice sounds very fake. Let's see, what are our options here? Yeah, I don't remember if I wanted to feed this kill to Dedue or not. I don't think I do, because he attacked first. Yay! He gained a level from that.
I suppose I've improved.
And then when it comes to 3 houses, I'm not too sure how important the growth rates are compared to the bases. In most Fire Emblem games, you can get through them without your characters gaining any level ups. So growth rates aren't always going to be very important. Bases are often a bigger impact on the characters than their growth rates. 3 houses might be an exception to that in general Fire Emblems, since all the characters are primed to become or to grow a lot. Since they get access to a plethora of classes that will give them a variety of growth rates or affect their growth rates a whole lot, and they have plenty of levels to grow. I think even their base stats or their stats can cap at really high levels.
Such power dwells.
So I'm not too sure how much more important their bases are than their growths. It does have a huge impact on what the characters are capable of when you start using them. In the Golden Deer, for example, Lorenz, while he does have a not terrible magic growth, he has a tough time capitalizing on it because he doesn't start with any spells he can use. You'd have to train him a little bit before he can actually start fighting with magic. So his early game is really rough if you want him to be a mage. Let's see here. Let's put Dedue here, and then Yuri can heal him. Or wait, no, Mercedes. Actually, if she heals Byleth, then Yuri can heal Dedue.
I won't let everyone down.
And then for characters like Felix and Sylvain, they have, well, their magic growths aren't great, but they're not completely insubstantial. And they do have a budding talent in reason magic. Both of them do. So you can invest in that, and they can turn out to be mages, but for both of them, their bases favor a physical class better than a magical-oriented one. So they'll have a tough time turning out to be a mage, even for the late game, no matter what you do with them, because their bases are simply going to have them favor using a physical class so they can hit harder and deal with enemies better. So yeah, bases are very important even in Three Houses, even though all of the units are growth units. To put it simply, or not so simply. I don't know. I am probably confusing the heck out of somebody with my rambling. But I'm not too sure what else I can talk about because this is post-commentary, and I don't really remember all the things I was doing. Let's see, I'm just trying to make sure I only put the right people in range. So we're going to have Dimitri draw this bandit here, or thief, I should say. I gotta remember to feed him a kill. Oh no, they took the forest. I hate it when they're on the forest. It shouldn't be too big a deal though, because I have 4 mages, and well, I only brought 3 of them, but we have 4 mages in total in our overall group. For 3 houses, I highly recommend you stick to just using about, I want to say 10-ish characters on average. 10 is the number you can bring into auxiliary maps, so it's a pretty even number to keep you well leveled. And then if you use adjutants as they become available, and new recruits will always be not at the same level, but close enough to your main group that when you get new recruits, they should be usable right away. It's part of the reason why, despite the fact that I want to recruit a student or 2 for this playthrough, I'm going to wait as long as possible to do so that way their bases will be better suited to the current part of the game I'm at, rather than me having to just leave them on the bench and then they don't improve at all.
May my foes someday
like even though level up.
So this is what the goddess granted.
But yeah, so even though I don't necessarily need to train up the students I want to recruit in order to clear their paralogs, or side chapters, I should say, you honestly don't need to. I've done a couple of the side chapters without leveling the students that are required to go. No problem. All right, let's go ahead and feed this kill to Dimitri, I think, after we heal him with Yuri. Yeah, that's what we'll do.
Quite helpful.
Never hurts to be prepared.
Guess I learned.
Yeah, assigning adjutants, those are usually better for getting characters to master classes and improve their weapon experience. Since they'll gain,
I know they are just thieves, but this never gets easier for me.
Oh, he does reference the fact that this isn't the first time he's killed, so never mind. Okay, but anyways, what was I talking about again? Oh, right, that even though it is possible.
We stole this treasure. It's all ours. There's no way we're gonna give it up to some knights.
Let's think carefully.
Okay then. Anyway, even though it's possible to clear the side chapters I intend to do with the students I plan to recruit later, I'm going to put them off as long as possible, so that way they'll at least be somewhat useful in those chapters, rather than being useless dead weight that I have to account for as I go. Alright, let's go ahead and have a net attack from here. And there she goes, proving me wrong. She's got a 35% speed growth, so she's normally not all that fast, but she's just doubling so regularly. Probably because even though this is hard mode, it isn't all that difficult. Yeah, that's the name's a bit misleading. But this was the highest difficulty you could do for a first playthrough, so I figured it is worth showing off. Although I'm cheesing it even more than I probably should, because this is also New Game Plus. But even still, they made it a bit too easy, and then the only difficulty I know of above this is maddening, and maddening is probably too tough for me. I don't really plan on doing a Let's Play of maddening, because I am a little bitch, to put it mildly. Alright, let's go ahead and move Dimitri over this way. Yeah, for me, Fire Emblem's always is an odd series that I'm into. On the one hand, I do like the customizable elements of the later games in this series, such as Awakening, Fates, and Three Houses. But then I also get bogged down in the character customization elements to the point that I just don't particularly care for them. Or like, well, I guess another way to put it is with the DLC, how they forced you to stick to particular classes. I ended up really enjoying that a lot more than I assumed I would, because I liked the more focused level design where characters' strengths shined all the more when the people who were fast were the only ones who could double, as opposed to everyone being able to do it. Basically by having the characters more constrained, the designers were able to design the levels in a more creative way, and I really enjoyed that.
Stronger, huh?
It's also part of the reason why I want to try a playthrough where I do auto-tutoring instead of controlling myself how the units grow, or deciding for myself how the units grow, since I want to see how well this game plays through when it's closer to what a real, well, I guess real's the wrong word, when it's closer to an older Fire Emblem rather than a newer one. So that ought to be interesting. I'm definitely going to save that type of playthrough for something I can record, and then record it, and I'll share it with y'all.
Should I have held back?
And I will do my best to avoid cheesing it with the DLC, so I'll do it on a new game file. I might do it on Maddening to see how well, to see if you can manage it on a tougher difficulty, although someone who's more experienced than I could probably handle Maddening with 0% growth, so I'm not going to be proving anything there, most likely. Oh no, she's out of wind spells. Well, in that case, we're going to have to punch this guy with Dimitri. Punch him out, Dimitri. And despite Dimitri's really good strength growth, he actually had a tough time in the beginning here. He had a tough time dealing damage in the beginning, probably because fists are just that weak, and he is inherently good with lances. But as the game goes on, he is going to become quite the powerhouse. I am looking forward to using him. Well, no, I shouldn't give a point of reference. I'll let it be a surprise, but do know that that I am still working on making this playthrough at the time of the recording, or recording this playthrough at the time of recording. Redundancies upon redundancies. Yeah, and if I had been a little less overzealous in crossing those stairs, we would have seen a different line of dialogue once we go down these steps here. But that didn't really pan out. Okay, Mercedes, heal up Balthus. Yeah, it seems kind of odd that Balthus calls everyone pal. I don't know why, but it just bugs me a little bit. It's like he's being I don't know the right word for it. It's tough to think in English properly. Okay. I've got to be careful how we draw out that archer on the right. If I draw him out with someone on the stairs, he'll just stay out of my range. But if I put someone right here to draw him out, he'll have to go around. It is dangerous though, because there are two other enemies that can reach that spot. But Dedue should be perfect for it, thanks to his high defense and all of these enemies dealing physical damage. Oh yeah, look at all that damage he didn't take.
Ineffective.
That is part of the reason why Dedue is amazing. Although I'm not sure if I should regret or not that I'm turning him into a War Master instead of a heavily armored class. Oh, wow. I almost never see that. If he had landed the first hit, he would have gotten a kill. Okay, then. Let's go ahead and use Boyleth to take out the Archer, because that's guaranteed.
Each battle, a chance to grow.
Guarantees are always good. And then Ingrid, she can stand where Dedue's at, so we're going to move Dedue around and punch out this Archer.
It seems I've improved.
Good job. But yeah, like I remember I did Lorenz's side chapter when he was level 1 on a Golden Deer playthrough, and he was
stronger still.
and he didn't impede me at all. In fact, I think I was able to get him a kill or two. It was an odd experience, but not entirely unsuccessful. I guess that's the right word. I'm just torn on future playthroughs on whether or not I should use all of the Ashen Wolves, or try to limit myself to not use the Ashen Wolves.
Weak.
On the one hand, I should show them off as much as possible. They are DLC, and unless you get the Season Pass, you're not going to be able to use them, so I would like to show off their potential to pretty much everybody. Especially for those, for people watching who can't use the Ashen Wolves, or won't.
Face it, I'm better than you.
But then there's also going to be a lot of stuff on the Ashen Wolves. Or a lot of stuff with the Ashen Wolves in it from now on, since they are the DLC and they have launched, and people are other people are going to also have that same idea of, I should show these people off. So it's a very mixed bag. I think what I'll do is, if with my Golden Deer playthrough, I'll try and keep it as vanilla as possible, so I'll try to keep out DLC advantages and things like that.
You weren't ready.
Good job, Ingrid. And then for the Beagles playthrough, I might do something fun and then something else entirely with that. It might be interesting. I don't know. I kind of don't want to do the Beagles. But for the Golden Deer, I definitely have a specific plan in mind that involves using characters that we aren't able to recruit this early in the game. So it'll be handy to leave room for them, as it were. How dare! Let's see here. Let's go ahead and get in a heal with Yuri. Free experience is free experience. And since he's got Happy with him, she'll get experience from that too. Brawlers are usually good anti-magic units, since they'll well, you saw they get to attack twice and they hit on defense, or they hit with their attack stat on the mage's defense stat, so they tend to deal a lot more damage. And I remembered to assign battalions to everyone, but that was off-screen, so I don't know if it counts. It's usually a good idea to assign everyone a battalion, no matter how crap their charm stat is, or charisma. I don't remember what the right word for it is, but regardless, it's always a good idea to have a battalion on someone, so that way their authority grows and they can equip stronger battalions as you go. Because those boost your stats. It's very, very fun. Why do I sound so bored? I don't know. Oops, I meant to heal. And I didn't get to show off that battle quip. Well, you know what? That's what Divine Pulse is for.
Sure thing.
Well, just heal from here, so that way I don't accidentally do that again. I do believe that goes down in history as one of the most mundane uses of the Divine Pulse. Seriously, you can turn back time and you do it just to readjust a move, so that way it works better. Brilliant, Boyleth. Brilliant.
Let me at him.
Alright, let's go ahead and get everyone prepared, so that way I can try to feed this kill to whomever I want. Definitely not Annette. Oh my goodness.
The sun.
The sun. Constance, that is why I hate you. Don't talk about the sun. Like, she would have been the perfect new character, probably my most favoritist, if it wasn't for this stupid dual personality gimmick she's got going. Like, oh my gosh. Could you be any more annoying, you dumb bimbo? At least she's a very strong unit, so she has that going for her. Alright, yeah, let's go ahead and feed that kill to Balthus, I suppose. So, go for it, Constance. Nyeh.
Sending these brats instead of the knights means they've underestimated me. Big mistake.
Woo! Alright, and then let's actually go with Dimitri. Oh, yeah, I thought I was gonna... Oh, yeah. I remember now. Dimitri doesn't have... Oh, wait, he has a long-range gambit. Let's go ahead and, I guess, try that out. Or, no, let's just punch him.
Spoiled little noble, just die like a good little rich kid.
Unfortunately for you, I will not oblige. You will regret all that you have done.
Yeah, Costas here will have dialogue with your main lord as well as Byleth. I should have showed off what he says with when you use Byleth, but oh well.
I should have never listened to that idiot. What a mistake.
Woo!
Well, their blood and sweat was worth it. We have defeated the thieves. We'll follow the knight's instructions for what to do next. You led us well, Professor.
Well, of course I did. I have mastery over time and space. I can do anything. Some of the changes I do appreciate for the maddening difficulty is that they make some bosses move. They do telegraph if a boss will move or not, because if you highlight the boss, it'll show their aggro range, and that includes whether or not they move. So it's not completely cheap. I'll let this play out. I remember this being a peaceful place. ... Question mark?
I wonder why it is that you recall this place. You must be weak of heart. Each time I speak, it scares you so.
You surprised me.
Although the battle's at an end, do not feel too at ease. Well, anyhow, I am quite fascinated by this place. As far as I can tell, this is your first time here.
Still, it feels familiar.
How very odd. I wonder if somehow my memories have... I must admit I am unsure. Beyond the name and this strange feeling of familiarity, I can't seem to remember anything about this place. And yet, a great depth of emotions tied to that sense of familiarity. Like joy and sorrow, pain and love, and all things in between. If I was somehow here before, I wonder what took place.
Professor, we should return to the monastery soon. We're all ready for the journey.
Yes, of course.
It's time to depart. But know that time reveals all things. One day I will remember that which I have lost. Oh, by the way, it seems you've earned my gratitude. The thieves who came here are no more.
Why are you grateful?
I am not sure myself, yet I am grateful all the same. In any case, you must become accustomed to my voice. If you fall down with shock each time I speak, that just won't do. Oh, you think you're standing strong? Of course you are. It was a jest.
We're finally back. I'll leave the report to Lady Rhea in your hands, Professor. Huh. Edelgard. Does the Black Eagle House have a mission to see to? Remember, On a real battlefield, one can never tell what's to come. You can never dismiss the possibility of the worst-case scenario. Take care, Edelgard.
There's no need to state the obvious, Dimitri. But tell me, why the concern? Perhaps you doubt my abilities? If so, your lack of insight is disappointing.
That's not what I meant. If I've offended you, I hope you'll accept my apology.
Don't worry about it. Professor, we must hurry. Everyone's waiting on you.
I suppose I should be off too. Try not to let her get to you, Dimitri. I promise you, there's no need for concern.
So why are you so worried?
I'll tell you all about it. Some other time.
Oh, some other time.
So you have safely disposed of those bandits. I pray that their souls find salvation. But why did they target the students to begin with? We must further investigate the true cause of all that took place. Until we know more, I ask that you support the students and relieve them of any unnecessary worry.
I will do all that I can.
Good. I have high expectations for you. By the way, how was your time in Zanado? Legend has it, in ancient times, a goddess alighted upon this world in that very canyon. For a goddess from the heavens, Zanado could only have been a temporary haven.
A goddess? A temporary haven?
Long ago, the divine Seros received a revelation from the goddess, a gift to help guide the lost. The goddess is always watching over Fodlan from her kingdom above. However, in ancient times, the goddess graced this world with her presence and offered salvation to the people here. She is the mother of all life, the arbiter of every soul.
My father never... Oh, I didn't know.
I see. During your time here, I pray that you come to devote yourself to the teachings of Seros.
Lady Rhea, I am sorry to interrupt. There is something I must ask about in regard to those bandits.
As you wish. We shall continue our discussion when next we meet.
A goddess? I have no memory of her. But then, I have no memory at all. Oh, how bothersome. It is as though I know, and yet I don't. Perhaps Zanado was my home back when the goddess walked the land. If so, what does that make me now? A ghost?
I don't know.
No, that cannot be. I am most certainly alive. Of course, we also have the mystery of why I'm here with you. Is it somehow connected? Perhaps some past regret is stopping me from moving on, and now I'm forced to stay with you instead. No, that's not it. I can't believe in such a meaningless existence.
Alright, well, I'll go ahead and call that an episode here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.